I have those stored. It's going to be fun to get them out. I probably could learn a lot of dates and things that happened if I'd gotten those out for this history review. Albert was on the school board for public schools in the early 60s. And during those years, they added the classrooms in the primary grades and also built the junior high classroom. He was, because of that position on the school board, became the chairman of the first Colby Community College Board. And presented, I have a picture of him presenting diplomas at the first graduation class when students had been attending the Cooper classes in the Cooper Hotel. He was also heavily involved in the design of the campus, Colby Community College campus, and its location. The first location had been selected north of town, but it was a very unsuitable location. So he, Albert, and Don Phillips were successful in getting a much better location, the present location. Then I'm thinking about some of our very happiest times were when the three little Frahms came from Topeka, the three Steeles came from Dodge City, and we'd have 6 grandchildren and Bruce playing in the yard. They'd think of lots of fun things to do, and that would be a story in itself to recall some of those fun experiences. And Albert, after having served on the first college board, was involved in the establishment and at one time chaired the endowment board for Colby Community College. In 1969, Uncle John died. Aunt Rosa came to live with us, and she lived until 72. We had a trailer house moved in so she could have her own home. Bruce graduated from high school in 71 and attended Colby Community College and graduated in 73. One experience that was a good one was Bruce, the Sunflower Singers went to England on a tour. Brian and I went to join them. This was my first overseas trip. We went to London and were picked up by Reverend Mills, who had been a minister here in Colby the year before. He took us around visiting, made us go to bed the first several hours. We got me in the middle of the forenoon. That evening, he took Brian and me around to see some of the church. One church had been there 1,000 years.
About 800.
About 800, okay.
I think so. The one I remember anyway.
Okay, okay.
1,200.
Okay, all right. Then we boarded the train the next day in London, went to Edinburgh, Scotland, where we joined the Sunflower Singers, and then toured with them to several of their churches where they were singing. Among the singers were Sharon, Bruce, Gerald Lee, and Phil Schumann. This was the beginning of the Gerald Lee Phil romance. I think Brian and I were there 10 days.
I think so.
I'm so glad Brian did that with me. You were probably what, sophomore that following year in high school? Okay. Another fun memory I have is often when I drive by the school, like when school was out, maybe to pick up Bruce from school, I'd find Ken and Sheila at the bus visiting. Ken would be visiting until Sheila would have to leave on the bus. He would probably have driven in the car. Sheila graduated in 63, Ken in 64. They both went to Hayes. Amy was born in 67. they went to, after Sheila's graduation, Ken graduated midterm the next year. Went to Texas University where Ken got his master's in business. Following that, went to Chicago, where Ken worked for Chicago, Illinois Continental Bank. That was a great fun to get to visit them in their Lake Point Tower, 43rd floor, out of 72 floors.
At least.
Cloverleaf design, looked out over Lake Michigan, and one fond memory I have is staying with Amy when Sheila had gallbladder surgery. And Albert came to visit us, and we were looking for him this particular day, but it was interesting the way we found him. Amy and I had been down in the core elevator to do the laundry, came back out on our 43rd floor with our basket of laundry, and there was Albert just knocking on the door of the apartment to get in. So we hadn't expected to find him out in the hall. Also remember being there that same visit, I think, when it snowed so much that we could look down. You could tell it was a lot of snow, but you didn't have any idea how much snow there was out there in those streets. Ken did not go to work that day, but another experience was finding the window washers coming up on their boards that had outside to wash the windows. All of a sudden there they'd be, the window washers. Ken and Sheila moved, that got a bit tedious with Amy having to go down 54 stories to get to play outside. They then moved to Wichita. Pam was born there in 71. About this time, then Albert and Al Lowenthal were working on a fund drive for the Northwest Kansas Cultural Arts Center. Been dragging and kind of disappointing. On December the 31st, 1974, we had this big shock and loss to the whole community. Albert had worked very hard and accomplished much in this adopted community of his. Early in the 70s, I had been invited to be on the Thomas County Historical Society Board, served as secretary and treasurer, and during those years organized the Kansas Pioneer Dinners that we had down in the community building. We'd have as many as 400 people there, 2 or 3 different Kansas days. Also got the 7th and 8th grade kids every other year to write the stories, to go out and hunt stories of Kansas history, Thomas County history.
Lots of them wrote about their ancestors or their parents, didn't they?
Mm-hmm. And those are all stored, and they're still continuing to do that every other year. I think maybe Vida's doing it now, Vida Kubirni. Then I was president one year, and during that year we had the murals painted that were on the front of the museum that was out on Highway 24. So after Albert was gone, Al Lowenthal invited me to be on that fund drive, and he did all the work. I had a good time listening and watching and hearing. Lon graduated from high school in 75, attended Kobe Community College for 1 year, went on to K-State. Brian graduated in 77, and he was this dedicated farmer. I said he reminded me so much of his Grandpa Frahm. Farm was the thing he really worked for. With the Kobe Community College here, Albert and I had developed lots of fine friendships. At the faculty. In 1977, I was elected to the CCC board. In 1978, after my first adventure with Brian to go to Europe, I had the opportunity to go with a group led by an extension leader from K-State. We went to Eastern and Western Europe. That included Russia and Poland, Switzerland, China, Sweden. Then in 81, I went to China with a group of strictly farm homemakers. In 1980, let's see, I think it was, Joe said it was that the Blantons and I went to Austria for a couple of weeks. Just toured around short tours around the area there. See, in the early 80s, I was invited to be on the retired senior volunteer board. Then in 82, we started the fund drive for the Senior Progress Center. Need to stop and say that Melissa was born in 79. Geraldine and Phil were married in 77 at Peter Pan Park in Emporia. Phil was teaching in the junior high music in Emporia. Geraldine got a teaching position in Madison, and they lived there a couple of years. Also in 79, Chrissy was born. Ken and Sheila adopted her in, I suppose, 80, spring of 80. Looks like Brian was married in 1980, October the 18th. Wendy and Mark were married in 81. In Topeka? Manhattan, okay. Then we got our little Nicole in 1985. And before that, Rebecca and Elizabeth were born when Geraldine and Phil went to Greeley to go to school. They now live in Alamosa. Never lived there. Well, I sure did. From the time we moved there in 1915 until we moved to town, and I thought, how could my daughter not know that?
And that house was there all that time, huh?
Well, she knew Grandpa lived in it, but she didn't know that we had lived there before we moved into town. So I just found, well, Sharon has a chance to learn something too.
I knew that, and Clara lived upstairs. I remember.
Well, this is what Sharon said, and I didn't remember she's there that long, that she would have known that. But you know, we finally had two brooder houses. One of them we used for a cookhouse. One of them we used for the Barretts until we built the big house.
The big house.
Now I can remember real